Hello again, this is Jasmina, and in this presentation I'm going to talk about Feng Shui cures and activations. There is a difference between cures and activations. Cures are used to tame negative stars, untimely stars, and activations are used to enhance positive stars, and those are timely stars. Not all areas of your house need cures. If you have a bad either annual star or natal star in your storerooms, laundry, bathroom, guest rooms, don't worry about them. They don't have an effect on your life because these aren't places you spend much time in. If you have a main door or, for example, a garage door that you use all the time, then if you have a bad star or an untimely star in that area, you want to worry about a cure. Same thing for kitchens, bedrooms for the people who live there regularly, any home office or any study room. Now, if your home office is in your guest room, then your guest room's important. If your kids do all their studying on the dining room table, then your dining room's important. Those are the only two times a guest room or a dining room's important. In general, if you spend a lot of time in a room, that sometimes could be a reason to put a cure there, but that's a big maybe. And you only really need to do that if the stars are very bad or are actually causing issues. And we can work out whether or not this is the problem. So basically the things that can be cured are natal stars and annual stars, and we're only trying to cure the untimely ones. There's one annual affliction that is actually an annual star. That one can be cured, but the other two types of annual afflictions can only be mitigated. They cannot be cured. In general, the untimely stars are cured with elemental cures, but if you're very lucky in your natal chart, you'll have a special formation you can activate. And that will even help a little bit with the annual stars, but it won't cure an annual star. In general, when it comes to the annual afflictions, you want to avoid activating them, and I'll discuss that more. And the two of them can only be mitigated, not cured. If you're lucky, you'll have one of these special formations in your flying star chart. And that's really good if you do, because they make all stars become timely for all periods. So that means there aren't any bad annual stars anymore. I mean, there aren't any bad natal stars anymore. The annual stars will also be slightly reduced in negativity, but you still have to worry about them. If you don't have special formations, then you treat the untimely stars with elemental cures. And it doesn't depend if they're natal or annual, you treat them the same way. The timing is a little different though. For an annual star, it is best placed right before Chinese Solar New Year. And you have to be a little careful with this date because occasionally February 3rd will be Chinese New Year Day. And this is Chinese Solar New Year, that is. But this is fairly easy to find and nothing to be too worried about. Basically, in the last 3-4 days of the Chinese New Year, that's the time to put an elemental cure for an annual star. If it is in your natal star chart, the best time to do it is determined by looking at something called the Great Sun Formula, and it has some dates associated with it. Annual stars change their location every year, so that means you probably have to move your cures every year. They're cured with elemental cures, like I just talked about. And the only thing that the purple-white charts, all 648 of them, the only thing they have in common is the annual star, and everything else changes depending on aspects of the house or apartment. Elemental cures work this way. They use the weakening cycle of the 5 elements. So metal weakens earth, earth weakens fire, fire weakens wood, wood weakens water, and water weakens metal. So this is that cycle. In period 8, and we're still in period 8 at the time of this recording, the 2 and the 5 are by far the worst stars. They happen to be earth element stars, both of them, so they need metal cures. And you need a fair amount of weight, 50 to 60 pounds for each number 2 or number 5 you have in either the facing or sitting locations of your flying star chart. And this could also be your annual star too. The best thing I like about elemental cures is you don't have to have all those figurines from the Feng Shui stores. First off, they don't weigh enough, and for me, they're quite garish. So with elemental cures, you don't have to change your design style. You can just put an object made out of metal in that area. So it could be something functional like a table or a bed frame. It could be something decorative, and it can be in your style. That's what I like best about these guys. Now there are some other combos that can lead to issues, and the cure will depend on the elements of the stars. There are some combos, and it's not the individual star that's a problem, it's the combination, where you have 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, or 6 and 7. They might lead to arguments. But what you need to cure these things depends on the stars. One of the cures is fire, another one is water. If you use a water cure when you need a fire cure, you actually make the problem worse. If you use a fire cure when you need a water cure, you will solve the problem, but it will cause pain. It could be financial pain, it could be physical pain, it could be emotional pain. So you don't want to do that. You want to know what you're doing when you put an elemental cure in place. And it's best to get a little bit of help with this until you really understand what's going on. Combos can also occur between the annual and monthly or natal and monthly, but they only last a month and in general don't do a lot of damage. The worst combination, or the thing you need to worry about the most in terms of annual stars, is the annual natal interaction. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and when it's bad, you want to worry about weakening it. These are what I call the Grand Duke gang. The Grand Duke, the 3 Killings, and the 5 Yellow. Now the 5 Yellow is actually just the annual star 5. Any of these activations will cause issues. If you activate any one, you will have problems. Fortunately, the Grand Duke is rather small. It's only a 15-degree sector of your house. That's not too bad. But these other 2 are quite large. They're about 1/8 of your house. So that's pretty significant. And again, it's best not to activate. But what do we mean by that? We basically mean no construction. You don't even want to nail a nail into the wall to hang a photograph. You just wait until this time is over to hang this, until next year rolls around. Or hang it someplace else in your house where it's not a problem. This also means no new groundbreaking. So no digging of holes or planting trees. And if you can at all help it, don't take down a tree unless it's like endangering your house. Just wait for the next year. Digging, oftentimes digging is something that has to be done, like you have an underground water leak. Well, then you just have to do it, and then you deal with fixing that later. You also want to limit loud noises and high levels of movement. So if this was a location where your home gym is and a bad annual affliction enters there, you either want to move the home gym or you want to rent out get a membership at a local gym to work out there instead. Now, when it comes to groundbreaking, if you have a garden that's in this sector and you've gardened every year, that's okay, because the garden isn't new, but you don't want to put in a new garden, or you don't want to do something really big in the garden to like have to really dig it up and really change things. You want to wait till the next year. You also want to avoid moving large furniture and basically avoid rearranging the entire room, which usually means you're moving large furniture. This can activate it, but you can pull a chair in and out of a table or a desk. That's fine. We're just talking, you don't want to really move the big stuff a lot. If you have to move it a little to like clean around it, that's okay. You just don't want to move it to like a whole new location in the room. Unfortunately, the actions of your neighbors can also activate your annual afflictions. If you're lucky and have really good neighbors, you can tell them, at least the neighbor that lives on that side of your house, oh, next year we're going to have an annual affliction that's in your area. We would just like to know if you're going to do any, any construction or anything. Just give us the dates, and that's all we need. Do whatever you need to do, that kind of thing. And then on those dates, before that happens, you want to make sure that all your curtains are shut, all your windows are shut. If you can avoid using a door that faces that direction, don't use that door. And this is because if you can't see it, it has a much smaller effect, and it can have no effect at all. This is true of both good and bad. So if you know there's a mountain somewhere, but you can't see it because of trees or because of buildings that are blocking the view, then you don't get the effect of the mountain. And mountains are good. Same thing with water. If you have a riverbed, but the water's too low, you know the water's there, but you can't see it, it also doesn't do you any good. So if you can't see your neighbor's construction, it has very little effect on you. Unfortunately, when you go outside your house, you probably will see it. So it will have some effect on your life, but it won't necessarily be detrimental. It will be a lot less if you avoid having your curtains open on that side of your house. If you activate the Grand Duke, you tend to have problems often with money, but it could be other things, but usually it's money. You want to actually avoid sitting facing the Grand Duke during that year, anywhere in your house or at work. It can be very hard to do this at work, so don't worry about it. And it tends to more affect your company than you, but that can affect you too if your company has real problems. The nice thing is the Grand Duke's only 15 degrees, so it doesn't take much to shift the room a little bit so that you're not sitting facing that, like when you're watching TV or eating or something like that. You cannot cure activations of the Grand Duke, but you can mitigate it. And the way you do that is you activate, and I'll discuss what this means later, you activate an area that is the secret friend of the animal of the Grand Duke. And so Grand Dukes, they always have to do with an animal sign. You can actually Google the secret friend to do this. It's not a secret. So you can just Google this, and I can also help you with this. Now you want to make sure that the secret friend also does not have one of the annual afflictions. Usually, since there's usually 2 locations, you're able to use one safely. When it comes to the 3 killings, when you activate that, you'll have a lot of small problems. It will be tiring. You'll have one problem and then another and another and another and another, and it just keeps going. So this is best not to do. But if you're going to activate one, this is the least worrisome. The way you mitigate activation of the 3 killings is by activating the best annual sectors of your house. And again, you want to make sure they're not also in a Grand Duke location, but usually they're not. And again, you want to use the Great Sun formula dates for when you want to activate this. I actually have a separate presentation about the Great Sun formula so that you can look at that. It's dangerous to use the Great Sun formula without at least some help in the beginning, because you can really screw up and either have no mitigation being happening, or you can actually make it worse for certain members of your family. So this is why you really need help with the Great Sun formula. The 5 yellow is the worst place to activate. It can cause serious problems anywhere in your life, and I would really try to avoid this one. But the nice thing is, this can actually be cured, and this is cured with metal, because it is actually really just the annual star 5. The best thing to do is do it right before Chinese Solar New Year. You put in about 50 pounds of metal. And if you have any other activations after that, you place additional metal, same amount, and using, again, the Great Sun formula dates. I have heard some websites say you should place a metal wind chime to cure the 5 yellow. That is basically the worst thing you can do. There's not enough metal in the wind chime to be effective for a cure, and that movement and the noise created by the wind chime is enough to activate it, even when it might not be activated otherwise. So please don't do this. You can use metal wind chimes to activate a good sector of your house, but there's really only one sector to do that with, and that's where you have like an annual star 1 or maybe your natal star 1, as long as the annual stars are okay in that location. So this is sort of a summary. In general, I would say the worst places to have one of these annual afflictions is in your kitchen or your main door. The main door affects the entire house, and because we're talking about annual afflictions, you don't want to activate it. And in the kitchen, it's very easy to have an activation because there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of noise. If you drop a pan or a dish, especially if the dish breaks, that's probably an activation. So it's really easy in the kitchen to activate it. So that is unfortunate, but again, you just mitigate things. So when I promise to talk about this, activation to help mitigate or cure areas, that has to do with activity. Physical activity is one of the better ones. This could be dancing with your kids. This could be doing an exercise video. This could also be a significant rearrangement of furniture. Maybe you clean all the walls and the floor and then you bring the furniture back in. That would count. You could use it as a home gym location, you know, if you can move it around and it's not too inconvenient. It can also mean activity like working, you know, working on a project or learning something new for your business. This is also activity. Again, this is just a summary. For the 3 killings, you want to activate the best annual star areas in your house using the Great Sun formula. For the Grand Duke, you need to activate the secret friend of the Grand Duke, again, using the Great Sun formula. And for 5 yellow, you add metal just before the start of Chinese New Year, or the Solar New Year, and any time it's been activated, you put additional metal during the Great Sun formula date times. So I did promise to talk about activations in general, and this is to activate good stars. What stars are good, basically, are what stars are timely, and that will depend on the period in which we are living. So at this time, at the time of this recording, it's period 8. So 8, 9, and 1 are timely stars. There are some other stars that are good but maybe not timely, but the best thing to do is just activate the timely ones. This can be in your annual or in your natal stars, and this can help you prosper every year. Again, the best activation is activity, physical or mental. So watching TV in general is not an activity unless it is an educational program, and then there's at least a little activity. If the activity is work or studying in an area with good stars, it tends to promote wealth. If the activity is in the kitchen, it tends to promote health. If it's in the bedroom, it will promote both health and relationships. If you are mitigating an accidental activation of the annual afflictions, extra activity will be required. And this, of course, is just the Grand Duke and the 3 killings. So if this is an area where you have your home gym, you have to do extra workouts. You can't just do your regular workout. It actually has to be extra activity. You can also use elemental cures to activate. These are best, I think, used more for a natal chart than an annual chart. The only thing I wouldn't do is trying to activate an Earth star, because that means you need fire. So the growth cycle is clockwise. If you remember, the weakening cycle is counterclockwise. Since the thing to grow Earth is fire, and this is real fire, so this is real flame, this is really dangerous. You never want to leave a flame unattended, because you can burn down your house. It's better to activate the Earth with activity in the area. Everything else, you can use the elemental. So if you're trying to strengthen the metal, you would use Earth. And that could include things like ceramics. If you want to activate water, you use metal. Wood, you use water. And for activating fire, you use wood. So it's pretty simple. So that's basically it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please feel free to contact me here if you have any questions, or come to my ad-free website so you can see more information about the services I offer and some of the prices. Thank you again.